To the shock of many, EV batteries are lasting a lot longer than expected, but that's not a shock to any of you because you've been here before and you've watched the channel and you know what's going on. But what about other companies? How are they doing? We're going to have two topics today. One is about the lifespan of batteries, and the second is about Rivian and how they're doing. Short answer, it's a mixed bag. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. Got Randy Kirk here. Who knows why? I mean, I found him wandering the halls of YouTube, and I was like, "Sir, do you need a warm meal and a cot?" And he said, "Please like and subscribe." So I knew he was a YouTuber. We've got some topics here. Thank you for joining me, best-selling author Randy Kirk. I still love that. I was at that dinner. A viewer said, "Oh my gosh, you're in Texas. Let me take you out to dinner." And his wife said, his wife was being very supportive. "I don't understand Tesla and Elon, but I'm trying my best and I'm reading books. And do you know this gentleman?" And I was like, well, I was on his show yesterday, and the other fellow, Lars, there on the cover, I was on his show a week ago. So yes,
those guys. Yeah.
I may have some experience with them. Hey, EV battery replacement will soon cost less than fixing a gas engine. Study. Does this surprise you?
No, not at all. It's all about how many can you make, and I mean it should be as the cost is the more you make of anything. What is it? Moore's law? I forget. Or there's all these laws. One of those laws says the more you make of it, the cost goes down.
Rights.
Huh? Rights law. The more you make of it, the cost goes down, even exponentially in many cases. And we've seen that specifically with regard to batteries. Tony Seba predicted it. It actually predicted it almost exactly to the dollar amount as to how fast lithium batteries would reduce in cost. So yes, at some point, it's going to not only be cheaper than a motor, which has all those moving parts and all that crap, but it's also going to be way cheaper, not just cheaper.
Yeah, batteries can get cheaper. The reason is battery factories are very expensive to build. Batteries are remarkably complicated little devices for what you would think, well, batteries, how hard could it be? I've got a whole drawer full of them. Right. These are a little different. These are a little bit more precise. If you tried to power a car with the specs, the tolerances used in a alkaline battery, I think what you'd just get is fire. Because it's high drain, it's high capacity. So there's a lot of opportunity for economies of scale to improve pricing. And again, I've said this before, quoting Tony Seba's cheating. Time travelers are, of course, they're accurate. They've seen the future. I got to get Tony on the show someday. He's an absolute
I wish I knew there was a way to do that.
I know a guy who might know him, so I'll see if I can reach out that way. I will do that.
Have something on
so yeah, it sure would be unfortunate if people found out you only tip 5%, sir. Now, may I have Tony Seba's phone number? Do you know that old batteries, they're piling up? What happens to old batteries?
They go to Redwood. They go to Redwood.
Yeah, well, they cannot be left to rot in landfills. Sure they can. You ever heard of a trash fire? Of course. Repurposing and second life applications. Yeah, why not? We've talked about this before, but did you know a stadium in Amsterdam is already using old EV batteries to power its lights?
Nice.
Yeah, and smaller EVs like scooters and forklifts can use batteries that are no longer up to automotive spec. And of course, in industrial applications, there's a company now that is using secondhand EV batteries for grid storage. And I ran a story about that maybe a week ago. I had some very skeptical comments, how that's not going to, they can't scale it. I said, who cares? Let them figure that out. Maybe they can't. Well, it's not going to be, cost effective. Those batteries used to be $50,000 and now they're only assigning them a value of $4,000. Right, because that's what they're worth. I don't know how to explain that. I feel like you're fighting me for no reason. There are places for these to go. Industrial applications, power backups, recycling, like you said.
Yes. Redwood is, and I was shocked the other day at the size of his company. I'm going to forget the number. Did they mention it in the article? Because I want to say that he was talking about shooting for 200 million, 200.
Oh, it doesn't
I
say
mean,
on there. I
it
was just
was really
highlighting Redwood
it was a
Materials is
big
covered.
number. I was shocked at the size. I guess it must have been 200 million in sales was where he was shooting for. That's, that's a big company.
It's crazy. It's if you've seen, they've built a new facility out there. It is
Yeah,
ginormous,
yeah,
and of course, it's going to make sense to recycle these minerals. These are just minerals. It's not like plastic, where a second-use plastic is not as good as a first-use plastic. Lithium is lithium. Nickel is nickel. Even the can itself is metal. You still want that back. The only part you can't recover is the glue, which the people who don't believe in this, I think, have already huffed enough of. How long will an EV last before it has to be replaced? I mean, the short answer is a long time. And especially if we're talking, modern EVs are designed to last 15 to 20 years, comparable or even longer than a traditional dyno
I know
burner.
burger. Yeah, I think,
Any surprises
Tesla,
there?
I think, just specifically said the other day that they design all their EVs to go 200,000 miles. So does that mean it won't go further? No, we have lots and lots and lots of reporting of Model S's and Model X's and stuff that have gone a million miles, 800,000 miles. Some of them have had to have one or two or three batteries in order to do that. But what do you know? That's the same thing would be true for an ICE car. Um,
Well, and those are
right,
old, first
right.
generation, uh, antiquated tech compared to the new ones. I only know how many people do you think I know who have threes and Ys? It's a
Lots. Yeah.
lot. It's hundreds. And I think I only know of maybe two battery replacements out of all those people. And I've known people who have had whole engines recalled on brand new cars and trucks.
Yes.
And
I think right now
yeah,
the Teslas have an 8-year warranty on the battery.
outside of California, I think it's 8 year, and in California it might be 10. I don't remember, but it is the federal minimum is 8 year, 100,000 mile. That's every
Right.
manufacturer. So that's a lot of piece. Well, yes, but what happens if it's 8 years in a month, buddy? It's already longer than the warranty on your
That's
internal
right. Yeah.
combustion engine. And if you see, yeah, but a gas engine will last 200,000 miles. Really? Then why doesn't anyone put a warranty on it that's commensurate with that? Because come on, get real. Well, my uncle's car went a million miles. Yeah, my uncle's car went 75. So, yeah, electric cars could last much longer than you think. Uh, EVs are practically worthless secondhand because the huge batteries need expensive replacements after a few years at least. That's what some in articles and forums have led you to believe. But yeah, secondhand prices have been plummeting because they're used cars, and we are now out of the pandemic boom. Evidence is building that batteries could last much longer. All good stuff. I would like to get us into the second half of, guys, if you appreciate independent journalism, and I am an independent journalist, I am out on the ground doing my work, you can support me. And if you like what Randy does, I mean, I guess you can support him. Bit weird. Who knows, man? Who knows? um, yeah. So, did you hear that Rivian has been ranked last on the Consumer Reports reliability
No,
list?
I didn't hear that. I thought I heard the last in terms of consumer unhappiness.
Uh-huh. I think what you're referring to is Tesla falls behind California EV brand Rivian in owner satisfaction. Rivian tops owner satisfaction while being dead last in
Oh, and
reliability.
reliability was last. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, so that's interesting. That sounds like a classic Jaguar, is what that sounds
Now,
like. People
is there
loved
any
them.
possibility that Rivian is falling into the same problem that Tesla is with regard to Consumer Reports reliability standards, because the consumer gets into this brand new machine, a Tesla or a Rivian, that is completely different than anything they've ever been in before in terms of how it runs, in terms of the way that the computer works, in terms of no buttons and everything's, and then all of a sudden they don't know how to operate it, and or little technical things can go wrong with the computer, and that counts as a problem.
I understand what you're saying. There have been a lot of these, I think it's JD Power who complains about initial quality because someone doesn't understand that you can just push a button and say what you want it to do. Uh, I know Edmunds gave the Model 3 performance a very good review, said the only thing I wish it had was a zone heating, a zone climate control. And Wes, I think it was Wes Morrill who responded, thank you for appreciating it. By the way, there's a pressure sensor in the seat. Once a passenger hops in, zone climate control is on by default. You incredibly dumb bastards. No, he didn't say the last part. It didn't fit in the post on X, but you could hear it in your head. It was very powerful. I don't think that's the case with this because some scored particularly well, including the Mach-E. And the thing I found with these EVs is every one of them is different. When I go out to Platt Auto and do my little test drives of all kinds of cars, I find that every EV is different. The figuring out which ones have on buttons and off buttons. I did one drive where I'm done and I'm getting out and he goes, you should probably turn the car off. I'm like, oh my God, that's what the car's doing to me right now. But while the reliability of Model 3 and Y was more average, but all electric vehicles and hybrids still give owners more problems. Looking at the forums, what I have seen is that people are saying, I love the car, but I have had nothing but problems with it. It's been in the shop, 6 times. It's a new company. It's a new car. I think a lot of that's to be expected. The concern I have, this will be where we wrap it up, but because we've both got things to do, is with this. This might be a little bit out of date, but this is AJ's masterful spreadsheet showing from the date of inception, how is the car companies doing financially? And you can see Lucid on track to have, they've already burnt over 21 billion and they're going deeper into debt with more spending soon. And it's just going no company in history has run this far into the red. And people are like, yeah, I love it. This company's going to be great. Is it? Is it? I love the cars. I think they're wonderful. But is it? Because that's a concern, my friend.
Yes, indeed. That is a concern. That's more than Uber.
I think it is. It is more than Uber. I think it's fun that I paused thinking for half a second that you might like go, oh, I'm gonna rebuttal. I got a rebuttal for Brian. No, this is wonderful.
I never disagree with Brian.
Smart move, Randy. The first smart thing you've said today. Guys, head on over to Randy Kirk's channel, see what he is up to. We have some fun over there too. I harass him relentlessly. He permits me to take shelter on his channel when the days are cold and rainy. Guys, what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? Leave it. And I ask you to, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Stay tuned. Stay juicy. And I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots on the flippity flop.